Hello everyone, now here I am with my new video. Today we will start a new chapter, that is chapter number 7, Directing. So what do you understand by directing? Let's discuss this. Directing means giving instruction to someone to do a work, how to do that work, that is called directing. Let us have a look of the definition also. Directing is the process of instructing, guiding, motivating and leading people in the organization to achieve its objective. In easy words, we can say that organizations keep directing its employees to achieve their goals. It means they give them instructions time to time, they motivate them, encourage them to do that particular task. Now let's start with the elements of the directing. As we read, some words were already given in the definition also. So here we have 4 elements of directing. First is supervision. Supervision means here the head gives the advice to the subordinates. He actually gives the instructions. He overlooks his work, that how they are doing their work. That is called supervision. Second is motivation. Motivation is a very important factor for anyone to do a certain task. Motivation means in that the head is actually encouraging the subordinate to do a certain work, to complete his work with full efficiency. That is called motivation. For motivation, we can give him or her 2 types of benefits. They can be monetary and same time they can be non-monetary also. Monetary means we can give them some type of incentives, bonus, etc. And in non-monetary, we can give them appreciation or some type of reward, etc. so that they can be motivated for their work. Third element of directing is actually leadership. Now, a true leader is a person who can influence the behavior of the other person. When we are talking about the leadership quality in the organization, it means here the leader is influencing the behavior of the other person so that he can work to achieve the organizational goals also. Next point is communication. Now what is communication? Communication is actually a two-way exchange of information. One is the sender and second is the receiver. If we are sending the information and that reaches the person in the same manner and he gives us feedback, that is called communication. And communication is a very important factor in all type of business organizations. Now next move on the next topic, that is Maslow need hierarchy theory of motivation. Maslow gave a need hierarchy theory actually of motivation, in that he suggested us the 5 steps. He said that these needs are actually fulfilled in this order only. So the first order was physiological needs. Physiological needs are basically the basic needs of any person. Like everyone needs food, shelter and clothes. So these all are physiological needs. Until these needs are satisfied, the person will not think about the other type of needs, because these are the needs actually that are responsible for the survival of the person. Secondly, we have safety. Here safety means the emotional harm and the physical harm also. Everyone wants safety from these 2 type of harms, so that comes in safety needs. So after safety needs, we have social needs also. Social need means the person is actually the part of the society, so we need actually some type of belongingness or a friend circle in the society. So that comes under social need. So the person, as you can see, that the person will think about these needs in the same order. Next is esteem need. Esteem means here we can say that the person will think about his power, position, if he is getting some type of recognition, etc. So these type of his needs comes under the head of esteem need. And finally what we have our 5th and last type of need, that is self-actualization need. This is, we can say, the maximum point. After that the person needs nothing. Whatever he wanna achieve, if he has achieved, then it means his last need is also satisfied, he need nothing more. Next move on the next topic, that is leadership style. I just told you about leadership. Leadership means influencing the person's behavior in a particular direction. So that we can do in three ways. So first of all, we have authoritative leadership. These type of leaders are actually, they just give commands to the. Now we'll discuss the next element of directing, that is leadership. Leadership means here the person can influence the other person's behavior and ask him to achieve a certain goal, helps him and guides him. Then we have three types of leadership styles here. First is authoritative leadership. In this, the leader actually gives only the command to the subordinate. The subordinate has to do the work according to the command of the leader. Here the leader will not ask the subordinate for his suggestions. So the disadvantage of this leadership style can be that sometimes the subordinates feel demotivated and dissatisfied also, because it reduces actually their creativity. Second is democratic leadership. We can call it participative style of leadership also. In this, the leader and the subordinate, they both discuss about the things and then they take any decision. Here, basically the leader asks the subordinate for his suggestions, and after reviewing the suggestions of all the subordinates, he reaches on a particular decision. Third type of leadership is laissez-faire leadership. In this, the leader gives the total freedom to the subordinate. In whatever way he want to do his work, he can do. So actually the authoritative and laissez-faire, they both are just opposite. The democratic style is the balanced one that is mostly used in the organization. Now we move on the next element of the directing, that was communication. So communication, as I told you earlier also, communication is the exchange of information that takes place between two or more than two people. Communication can be of two types in any organization. First is formal communication and second is informal communication. Formal communication means here the organization gives us a proper structure to flow the information, and the employees have to follow that structure only to convey their messages to each other. Second is informal communication. Informal, the employees, there is no structure given by the organizations. So employees with their social interactions create such type of communication. Like if one employer of the one department wants to talk to the other department's employee, so he can directly contact him or her. So both type of communications actually have their advantages and disadvantages also. So basically an organization needs a proper balance between these two. Like we can use informal communication if you want to spread any information very fast, because it can flow the information very rapidly, and formal communication actually helps us to assign the responsibility and authority of a person, because here a proper structure for the communication, for the flow of information is given by the organization. Thank you.